So this is Sherry, live from Vancouver with At 45, the magazine for women over 45, those of us who are rediscovering who we are, exploring what we want next in life. And we want more of everything: love, fun, laughter, and fulfillment. We're so glad that you're joining us today. These are definitely trying times. I know I'm having a hard time often staying motivated and upbeat, and we're tempted often to either eat mindlessly or hit that channel changer. And we want to connect with more women. I think that's the whole goal of our conversations that we're going to be holding over the next 14 days for sure. So welcome everyone. We hope that you're safe and sound and feeling well so far. Today I have with me Golfo Tsakumis, and she is a wonderful artist here in Vancouver. But she found herself in unusual circumstances, and probably a lot of our listeners could identify with that. So welcome, Golfo.
Thank you very much, Sherry. Thank you for inviting me to this fabulous, fabulous program you have for fabulous women over 45. I'm thrilled to be here, and thank you ladies for joining us. Wonderful meeting you. Let's connect, let's have some fun. Trying time, and all of us, we need time to keep our minds occupied and just feel good talking to each other. Thank you, Sherry, thank you.
So Golfo, how did you come to be quarantined?
It is, yes, like many other, like maybe millions of travelers. My husband and I, we happened to be in the States during this time, and we heard on the news that we have to come back home. We were not planning to come back for another month or so. So we rushed and we said, it's best to go home and be with our loved ones, just in case, because nobody ever knows what can happen. I pray, and I do believe that nothing is going to happen, because obviously we've been taking care of the people that they know how to take care of us, the ones that we voted all these years in order to and gave them our tax money in order to look after us. I have a confidence. I have a confidence, but at the same time, I can say that I don't worry. I worry, and maybe that's a good thing to worry, because if we worry, we protect ourselves. So we found ourselves back in Vancouver. Here we are in seclusion, which for me, it's like I feel like in prison. I feel like sometimes I feel like, oh my Lord, I'm losing my mind here. I have to get out. I almost, in my thought, I always think, okay, I'm gonna do this now, I'm gonna do this next, and then I'm gonna go get dressed, put my runners on, and get going, go out. But then I realized I can't go out of my door. And this feeling, it's definitely something very new to me and to the whole world.
And I think you have another week to go. Is that correct, Golfo?
A week. I think week number 2 is the worst. I'm telling you, I felt the first week it was fun. Okay, we managed somehow, my husband and I, we were good. We live in a condo. It's a small condo, and not much to do. We don't have our yard that we used to go outside and do some gardening, do some walking. Now, obviously, just 4 walls, and we're 2 people, older people too. So it becomes a little difficult, but we manage. But this week, today, I woke up and I said, oh, what I have to do today in order to be happy and just keep going. And it makes me feel good that we're doing this together with all the other 2 lovely ladies who joined us, because we communicate, we share hold the same ideas, we share same feelings too, and emotions.
Absolutely. Well, and we're really glad that you're with us today too. I mean, it gives a break to the day to be able to sit and talk with people.
Yeah.
So when you got home, Golfo, and you decided that you needed to feed yourself, what circumstances, ingredients did you find?
To tell you the truth, we didn't have a lot. We depend a lot on the love of our children, obviously, who were here in Vancouver still, and they were able to go and do the shopping because we can't go out to shop, we can't go out at all. They brought us enough stuff, mostly fresh produce, but I didn't leave meat products or poultry or anything, fish, very little left in my fridge because we were going to be away for 2-3 months. So I thought, when I come back, obviously I will get more supplies. So now I had to find what else I have available in my home. And the only things I remember that I had in my pantry were some old beans, black beans, which is this one. This one. It says black beans, and I don't know, it must have been more than a year or two in here, which I never thought ever that I will use. But sometimes I like to put a little bit in my salad. I boil them and let them in the fridge for a few days, and then I add them on my salad, any salad. But now just salad, it was not enough because I didn't have anything fresh, greens or lettuce or anything like that. So I said, I remember that my grandmom and my mother were making a wonderful soup, which we call it fasolada in Greek. And ladies didn't notice my accent. I'm Greek. So then I did remember again a little notebook that my mom used to have, as we call it today, cookbook, which is not really a cookbook, but just a little notebook. And in there, I found this recipe for bean soup. I was making it actually when my children were younger, but I forgot about it for some reason because now we're going into more salads, more simple stuff. I didn't have the time. I'm an artist. I need time to paint. I need time to see my grandkids. I need time to go out. I need time to do other activities. So I never thought of spending 3 hours to make a soup. So, and you have to soak obviously the beans from the night before. So that's another 12 hours. And I didn't bother with that. But when I found my mother's old book, which must be more than 70 years old, this book, it's almost ready to come apart, but I'm holding it so tight and I'm keeping it. I realized, okay, I'll do a soup. Why not? Which is Greece's most beloved meal, actually. It originates in ancient Greek because the Greeks were using the beans, the vegetables, and the grains at harvest time to give it as sacrifice to God Apollon.
Oh,
So that's where it was
interesting.
originated. Ever since then, of course, this kind of soup have saved millions of Greeks during the first war and the second war. It's a highly nutritional meal, full of fiber, together with the water, makes you feel fuller, gives you energy. And it also has iron, a lot of iron, protein, and vitamin B. All these things are fantastic. And actually, it's a good combination fighting the flu. Speaking of, but not the virus, just the flu. So I started that, okay, I said, okay, I'm gonna have to do whatever I have with my black beans. And we always, in our kitchens, I'm sure most of us women, we have olive oil. We import our olive oil from Greece, thanks to a good friend who is bringing it from his own orchards in Greece. Every October, November, he does the harvesting, and then by February, it's here in Vancouver, which is fantastic. And I have a bottle to show you. This is the purest of the purest you can find. This is amazing olive oil. we're not selling oil, but this guy is wonderful. He has his own orchards, and he goes there together with the workers, harvests, takes it to the factory where there is a pressure where they pressure the olive oils, and the olive comes out, collects them green, so thick, and then all of a sudden it warms up and becomes this amazing olive oil. So this to me, because I left my country when I was very young, and I hardly knew any recipes, but we had to survive. And the only way to survive is to use what I remember, what my mother and my grandmother was doing, and maybe add some more things, whatever I can find here in Vancouver, because Greece and Vancouver, so Canada, is a completely different situation in products, because the products in Greece, they still are, but the time that I was growing up, 65 years ago, it was much fresher. Everything were fresh. We would not even think about storing meats or anything in our freezers. First of all, we didn't have freezers, but later on, we always used fresh. My mom would go out in the morning to the fresh market, would buy everything fresh, come home, we cook them, we eat them, next day again. So when I came to Vancouver, it was a different story. I had to store everything in my kitchen. I learned fast. I had to learn fast because we had to survive. There's no other way. There was no deliveries at that time. I'm talking 50 years ago, ladies. So no deliveries, no pizzas, nothing. No, the Safeway, I remember, it was at that time. And that was the only place I would go and shop. So survival. That's what we're talking about now. We need to learn to be creative and create our own dishes with what we have. I made the soup. I don't know, ladies, if you saw that Sherry had put the soup that I struggle to do. I'm telling you, I struggle. I'm telling you, I'll tell you the story.
Let me just bring the picture up, Golfo.
It is funny. My husband was saying, is this soup ever gonna be done? It took about 5 hours boiling it. And I said, okay, now that I'm in seclusion, I have the time to do, but who's gonna sit there 5 hours to cook these black beans that they've been there for almost 2 years? I don't even know for how long, but that's all I had to do to create my soup. If you can find
sharing
it.
The picture there.
There you go.
It looks delicious.
It looks good and it tastes good. It took so long to cook, and I thought it was never gonna be done. There's no way.
And was that because the beans were older?
These were very dry. And this is also very important when we talk about the best bean soup. We have to be very picky about the beans. The beans have to be the navy white beans. And of course they have to be soaked, but we have to be careful when we're looking in the package. Check the beans not to be yellow, especially on the edge where it turns. That shows you that they've been laying out for a long time. They're in the bag for a long time, and they're very hard to cook. I learned that trick from an older lady when I arrived in Vancouver, and she taught me that. And she says, when you go shopping, just look for white, really clear white beans. And it was a great tip, actually, because I was able to make my soup faster than it did now with my black beans. I was sitting there for 2 years. But manage, it's nice. It took 12 hours to soak them because I soaked them the night before. I knew that it will take longer, but once I put them on, usually takes 1 hour to boil the beans. That's all you need. But that took 3 hours. And even still, they were harder. And then I sauteed the onions and all the vegetables together, the carrots, the celery, the ones that we have on the recipe. I'm sure Sherry's gonna share that with you.
Yes, I will at the end.
And then of course, I realized that it needed another hour. So it was 4 hours of boiling, but tastes good, tastes good. In the meantime, though, I was making bread. I made bread, that white whole wheat, which I haven't done for a long time, long time. Again, I didn't have white flour. My husband prefers the white because he likes a sourdough. He's diabetic, so he wanted to have something sourdough. But in order to make sourdough, I would have to have my yeast dough made a day or two before, let it out, and then do this. It's a process. And now I can see why the younger women find it very hard to do this, all these Greek recipes. They're time consuming. Now I realize it, but I kind of like it because I don't have anything else to do. So it's fun. It's okay. I learned how to make the bread, and it's good. It tastes good. And it didn't take me that long. It took me less than what my bean soup. So that was a good thing.
Now, the beauty about that bean soup too is that you can use any kinds of beans, like chickpeas. You know, you mentioned the navy beans, but any beans would work.
Any beans, any kind. Just the white ones is the ones that the perfect ones, and the ones that they will take you less time. Now you can also sometimes, like I said before, it's been years to make this soup, but we were making soup with beef. I can do the same soup with ground beef. You saute, you first of all, of course, you will boil the meat and just strain it and put it back in the pot with a little bit of olive oil and the onions and all the vegetables, saute, and then add your tomato, pureed tomatoes if you have. If you don't, whatever we have, it can be a paste, it can be sauce, it can be anything like that. Let it cook. Olive oil at the very end. We never ever boil the olive oil. Not this olive oil, because this is gold, ladies. It takes so long to get here, and I'm just going like a tablespoon at a time, which is a good thing because I don't gain weight either, because we have to be very careful as well. So yeah, meat, chicken. If you have in your freezer now, we all have. Not me, but majority of the world, because I was away. I haven't stored anything in my freezer, so I don't have any meats or poultry or fish. But you can do that. You can have, if you have chicken breast, cut it in small cubes, saute with all the vegetables. Put your if you like a chicken broth or something like that, or plain water, whatever we have. I don't have chicken broth, I don't have vegetable broth, I don't have anything like that. Next week, of course, I will definitely buy all this stuff, and I will restuff my pantry with the things I want, and I will have it all filled up. But for now, I don't have. So anything you have, anything. This is the idea of survival, is not to get stuck on a specific recipe the way we used to make it. The way we used to make it, we will find that after a month or so. But right now, not everybody has a huge pantry stuffed with ingredients and foods and dry goods and everything else, and a filled up freezer. We need to survive. And for me, I learned that at a very young age, being born in Greece, and right after the war, it was the tail end, but we were still suffering. A lot of villages, thank God, they were surviving because of farming. They were farming, and they had their own stuff. But the big cities like Athens and northern part, Thessaloniki, these other cities, people were dying on the streets because of no food, unnourished.
Well, and it's not those kinds of circumstances yet, but I did read an article. I did
too, but for sure not.
I did read an article the other day where seed suppliers are actually closing down their websites because there's been such a run on getting vegetable seeds and seeds to grow your food. Sure. I think lots of people are thinking about that right now.
I can see that, and it's best to freeze whatever we have, not for a very long time. It can be a month, it might be less, but we still have to be ready for this. A month is a long time. You need 3 meals a day. So 3 meals a day are quite a few of vegetables and other products as well. So we definitely need to be ready.
So what
Ready for
ingredients
the
are
good.
you missing the
Ready for the
most?
good girls. Yeah. Nothing bad is happening here. I'm very optimistic. I'm not a pessimistic person. We have a smile on our face and we say, yes, we are good.
We have to have that kind of attitude. So I had asked, what ingredients do you miss most while you're in quarantine?
What I miss more is my seafood, fresh seafood, which we used to buy whenever the day we needed to cook it. And my vegetables. I have now we buying bulk vegetables, whatever my children can find. It's not like I used to go to my small grocery produce, fresh produce stuff man that he knew exactly. I could call ahead and say, you put this stuff in there for me, and I come and pick them up. This doesn't exist anymore. So by that, I don't know for until when. That's why if I was here, if I was in Vancouver, I would probably be more prepared. I would probably have more vegetables in my freezer, at least carrots and celery and these things that I need to make for soups.
Yeah, we ran out of onions.
Yeah,
And it's amazing if you do, just about everything you cook is
everything needs
onions,
onions.
right?
That's right. I had no onions when we came, and I called one of my sons, and he brought me a little bag of 3 onions that he used to buy a big sack like this with about 15, 20. She said that's all they had.
And left them outside in your hallway.
Yeah, he did actually, and he said he sanitized it too. Already had sprayed it because he didn't want it to get in. I said, "Oh my lord."
Yes.
But that's okay. It's okay. It's just trying times, difficult times for all of us ladies. I'm sure you're feeling the same way we do. I feel down a lot of times. More times down than I'm uplifted and happy. And usually I am a happy person most of the day. I'm laughing, I'm dancing, I'm singing, but now I don't have that urge. I just can't. The words don't come out of my mouth.
There's a real grayness to life right now. I think lots of women are experiencing that. I've talked with some real women around the world over the last couple of weeks, and we have to be so grateful for the situation we're in. But there's women in some countries where their internet or their bandwidth has been minimized because of the government, not wanting to have an overload on the internet. Other women who the lockdown came so fast, they didn't even have a chance to prepare, like in South Africa. So yeah, there's a lot of challenges. And I think coming together and talking about it helps lift that grayness, even if it's just for a couple hours.
It does. Definitely chatting with each other. And if the ladies like to tell us something, I'll be very happy to hear.
Yes.
Tell us what they're doing, how they're feeling. If not,
we would love to have people comment. I just wanted to touch base on one other thing. So when you reconnected with your grandmother and mother's like notebooks or cookbooks, did that bring about any particular memories or a special memory of food or eating with them?
it did. And of course, after took me about half a day to calm down because tears every time I will touch my mom's handwriting. Tears. I felt. I smelled the book. It was just so good. I haven't seen it for 50 years. So that's a long time.
Wow.
It was hiding and going through all the photos from my kids and my grandkids and my wedding photos, everything else, just passing time like everybody else. And this was at the very bottom in a plastic, in a Ziploc but not a Ziploc. It was just something probably, it was a plastic, but came from Greece. Then we didn't have Ziplocs then, but a harder plastic, and that's probably what saved it. I can still read it. Of course, it has a lot of marks on it from old, because it's so old. It's oxygen, night, whatever they call it. And I looked at it and I saw one of the recipes that my grandma used to make, and that was stuffed cabbage with pork and rice and herbs. And then at the end, they will put a little sauce made of egg, lemon, and I don't remember anything else, and dill or something like this. So that was the best I remember. That brought tears, more tears, and more tears, and I didn't stop until I was so tired that I almost fell asleep from my tears. You know, so it was definitely emotional, but I'm so thankful that I found it at this time. I don't know why I found it at this time to give me strength, to give me message. It was a message because I was lost. I said, what am I gonna make? What am I gonna do? It's not the same. I had everything, and look at my fridge. I was complaining. I was telling my husband, well, there's nothing in our fridge. Okay, we have all this big boxed stuff, but what am I gonna make? It's not like I used to make. But this book definitely gave me a message. It calmed me down, and I thought, I said to myself, if my grandmother and my mother could do it at those hard times, we're not even nowhere near at that time. This is fun. What we're doing right now is fun, and this is for a good reason, obviously, why we're locked in our homes. But and we know that soon it's gonna end. But at that time, during the war times, people didn't know if it was going to end, and it was a completely different situation. But now, definitely not. So I'm very happy that I found it, and I am gonna make something out of it. I'm gonna be printing the pages, and then I'm gonna write next to it in English what it says. And because my daughters and my daughter-in-laws and my granddaughters, I have 7 granddaughters and 2 daughters and 2 daughter-in-laws, and they all so happy that I found this book, and they're thrilled, and they can't stop talking about this book. So now I'm gonna make it. Now that I have the time, I'm gonna spend the time creating something really good with this little thing, little notebook.
That's a wonderful idea. Because I think cooking, it just, and food, it equates with family for sure.
Warms our hearts, and it makes us remember the good meals around the table, and beautiful. I remember warm summer days, sitting outside underneath the grapevines, and having the meal of the grandma was making for us, with a bottle of wine, always. So
the best accompaniment.
The best wine ever. So I know my parents were drinking that. I wasn't drinking at that time, but it was fun. And then neighbors will come around. Everybody's gonna join. This is what we were missing the last decades. We missed the company of people. We got secluded, self-secluded actually, because we're so busy, each one of us. We didn't realize that we were secluded. We were just isolated. We isolated ourselves. We've been so busy. I know I have.
Well, and I think that's one thing that we can take away from this whole experience is that, you know, we have opportunity and time now to come together, to reconnect, to, you know, focus on some of the things that we've never had time before.
We're gonna come out of this very wise people, for sure.
I think so.
You know, in a different way. We're all wise, but in such in more sentimental and more humane, just more different. Definitely different. Because now we realize how much we need each other, and what it means to say hello to somebody who you don't know.
Yes.
It don't have to be the ones that we know. It's better to say hello to people that you don't know. It's funny because I love walking, and this is what I miss of all, mostly for I'm not a person to go dinners and blah 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 a lot or out, but I love walking. I can walk 2-3 hours a day. But when I meet people on the street, I always put a smile on, and I want to say hi. I want to say good morning, and sometimes I do, but I don't get an answer. And I said, oh my God, what are what are these people thinking now? What are how they perceive me? Do they think I'm a weirdo? Something like that, or I'm losing it and I don't have anybody else to talk to. But you know, that's not it. It's because I grew up like that. I grew up in a village where we knew each other. Everybody knew each other, obviously, and it was just a natural thing to say good morning, how are you? And for me, it is going down the elevator. I meet people. I say good morning. How are you guys? And maybe one will say we're good. That's the answer. We're good. Okay, let's go. It's good. We're alive. We're here. So things like that, I'm sure they will change. I don't know how fast and for how long and how much, but definitely we will rethink.
Well, thank you so much for sharing Golfo with us. And I'd like to open it up now if anyone would like to or has any questions or comments. We'd love to hear who you are, where you are, and what you're doing in these trying times. You can just unmute yourself. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, you're great. How are you? What a lovely smile. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, well, it's been great. I think this is just what a lot of people need, and so hopefully we can get the message out to everybody or to a lot more women so that they can join in and I would say actually it's healing. So it's a nice way to meet new people that you don't have the opportunity to do right now, and actually it's amazing because it opens up the amount of people you can meet that because you don't have that need for immediate distance to meet them, you get to meet a lot more people. So thanks for that. Love the recipe too. Looks very interesting, and I'm going to try it.
With anything you have, anything, it goes. If you don't have black beans, just kidding.
Well, and the fun thing about it is I knew I was going to be joining this and the topic of it, and the other day I was actually making some chicken pot pies because I'm obsessed with making sure my older children have food, and so have been sending care packages when I can. I was making banana bread, and I was like, well, I want to make extra, but I only have so many bananas. And then I thought about this show and put in applesauce to double up the recipes, and so there's a lot of things we can use that if we're just looking for substitutions. But yeah, it definitely inspired me and made my mindset in these trying times a lot better. So thanks so much for that.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And this is the whole idea, is to substitute, and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. It doesn't matter. If we're hungry, we're gonna eat it. That's what I always say. You know, my children sometimes when they were younger, oh, it's not like yesterday. I said, okay, wait a little bit, give it another hour or two, and then it's gonna taste a lot better than yesterday.
Yeah.
Finished it off after. So it's human nature to always look and get used to something really good, and then it's taking us a little bit more time to change, and changes came to us so sudden. In a week or 2 weeks, we find ourselves isolated from the rest of the world, and everything shut down, uncertainty, We don't know what is true, what is not true. Where are we going from here? What are we going to? Are we going to stay here in our home forever? I said to my husband, "Oh my Lord, we're on the 16th floor. They're going to have to take us out by the helicopter." No, what is going to happen? But we optimistic, obviously, because like I said, we trust the people we voted in. We trust that they know what they're doing. Sometimes I have my questions about that, but most of the times, of course, we're living well. So obviously they know what they're doing. So, and this is for our own good to stay in, especially
Yeah.
my age. I'm 65 this month, coming up in April. My husband is older, so, and he has issues, health issues, obviously. So I have to support him by staying in, but also I don't want to bring any viruses in, anything that it will affect his health.
Yeah.
So that's why we all have the same problems. We face the same problems, all of us, unfortunately, but it will pass. Big
Yes.
smile. Big smile, ladies. Big smile. It's not going to be here forever. It's not going to be.
No.
Let's support. Let's talk. Let's chat with each other, and you tell us how you feel, what you're cooking. Like you said, that's fantastic. We all know how to cook. When Sherry and I were talking, Sherry, you remember?
Yes.
How are we going to do this? We need companies. We need to communicate with other women, with other people. How are we going to do this? We're not chefs. I'm not a chef. I just learned because I had to survive. I have a family of 5 children, young, obviously, at that time. So I had no way who's going to cook for me. So this was, for me, it had to be. It was a necessity. But by all means, I'm not a great chef. Some people tell me I'm making good things, but I don't know. I don't know about it. I taste it. I taste it better. Maybe they love me too much.
And where are you calling from, Holly, or where are you coming in from?
I'm coming in from Wainwright, Alberta.
Alberta. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so nice to have you here. So nice. So wonderful.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say the comment about meeting people, it resonated with me. My husband and I returned from Maui in February. We were there for a month, and he kept saying to me, we were staying on this 7-kilometer beach, Sugar Beach, and he kept saying to me, he'd say, quit looking at everyone and greeting them, because we're never going to get through this beach, because it's someone, could you take our picture, and someone, so I guess maybe different places, different mindsets, and maybe it's more so the busyness of people's minds that they don't really recognize a greeting or the place. But anyways, something that
It's so right. You're so right. I've been in Maui, and I noticed that the mood is different. People are relaxed. People are there for having to have fun, and it's different, completely different situation for sure. Everybody.
yeah
And a little bit of alcohol on top of that, little Mai Tais, that helps too.
yeah
I love Maui. I'm so envious.
My Tais is good too. That helps. But obviously here everybody's occupied, preoccupied. Their minds they're filled with all worries and ideas, what they have to do today, what they haven't done today. So it's understandable. But maybe we'll think something it will ease a little bit for everyone's, which I'm hoping, really hoping that it will ease and we'll get more relaxed as time goes by.
I would agree.
Just a little bit. I see that, as I said, I have 5 children, and I can see how busy they are every day. It's a struggle. It's not easy for nobody. And I see that, and I say, oh my Lord, how much longer are you guys going to be able to run around like this? And kids, family, friends, of course, business first and foremost, their job. Too much. But now I sent them a message this morning and I said, how are you guys doing in isolation with your families? And they said, oh, we're having the best time ever. I said, really? Wow. We have this? Okay.
Well,
I don't know what to wish I said anymore. For the virus to stay or you stay now. I don't know. So,
well, I think too, our personalities play a lot in that. My daughter is extremely introverted. And so although she has to do the socializing side with her job, yeah, the other day, well, we've been doing a few things, but I usually do like tea and crib at night virtually with her because she lives alone. And so you're always mindful. And yeah, I said, like, honey, are you getting lonely or how are things? And she's like, no, not in the least. So you know, people are different.
mm-hmm. Exactly. And hard times like this, it's something special, I think, to keep in touch and evaluate what we have done wrong and move on to better life for all of us, for the whole world.
Absolutely. Arlene, are you able to unmute? Do you want to tell us where you're from?
Oh, unmuted.
Oh, there.
Hello.
Hi, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. You can hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Sherry, as you know, unlike Golfo, I'm on the 21st floor. So I got a big problem if I have to get out. Anyway, the window washers were up here the other day. I couldn't believe it.
Amazing.
Amazing is right. Anyway, as you know, it's a new place. So the last couple of years, I've been trying to downsize for the last about 3 years roughly. And during that process, I was unloading a lot of surplus kitchen things. And am I glad that I hung on to my food processor, my bread machine, and what was the other thing I used the other day? Slow cooker. All of which I was thinking of, well, I'm going into a condo. I may never use them again. I haven't used this bread machine in 5 years. Well, yesterday I made bread. And this past week I've made so many different new dishes. I've been trying new recipes because now that I'm settled down, I've got this time to cook and retirement is upon me. So I've got time to cook. Now the problem is making sure that I have the ingredients. So making some compromises on some recipes. When one recipe calls for, like, for example, the other day I made something that called for fresh basil. Well, I didn't have any, but luckily for us, we have a small jar of pesto that hadn't been opened yet. So perfect. I just dotted the thing with the pesto and you got the flavor. It was all there. So, you know, you just have to use what you've got, like Golfo said. And really happy the first week that we had this problem with the virus, I thought right away I'm going to get some bread flour. And so I had a big bag of bread flour, and finally I decided yesterday was the day. So anyway, so I've been doing a lot of baking, and fortunately for us, we even had some pretty good weather and getting out for long walks. So trying to not put the calories on the hips. So eating and getting out, both.
Yes.
It's been really great that way. And like I heard Golfo say, also looking at family photos. Well, I've got photos, 40 or 50 years worth of photos. And I got a shoebox for every decade. And they're all real pretty boxes and all that, but there's still lots of boxes. So I've been going through those boxes. I think I got down to, I've done the 90s and the 2000s. Now I'm back in the 80s, and there's still the 70s and the prior to the 70s. So what I've been doing with the photos, though, is separating them out. For example, I have a relative who's not very well right now, and I do have some pictures that I took of him and his wife and family that he probably's never seen. So I separated them out, and I'm writing him a letter, and I'm sending these photos out to him. and I have a large extended family, so I'm doing that for other people in my family as well, because I'm sure the you're shooting when I'm gone, my son's gonna look at the pictures and say, I don't know who that person is. These photos are gonna disappear.
It's absolutely true.
So
And I
this
mean,
is what I'm doing.
we all have those big collections of
Yes.
photos that, yeah, that's a fabulous project.
Now those are the ones in the shoe boxes.
Yes, I can only imagine.
There's the albums, right? And every trip I went on, and I've forgotten how many now, but the other day I had one of those quizzes, you know, online, and I visited 77 countries so far. And some of those trips are a single album. So I have maybe 10 or 15 albums. And of course, I've gone through my dad's 31 albums, got rid of the albums, got rid of the pictures of the barns and the horses and the, you know, things like that, and separated out family photos. It's been a heck of a big job. So I think it's something we have to do though before we go, because otherwise our kids are going to have to do it, and it's going to be difficult for them. Just like I had a hard time dealing with my dad's pictures. I don't wish it upon anybody. So I think we have to clean up our own house, and that's what I'm kind of doing. But thanks for the recipe for the soup, because I want to make more soups, because it's healthy, easy to make, and you can make more than one meal at a time. So I'm going out shopping shortly for the other thing I'm doing is my friends just came back from their winter in Mexico, and they're self isolating right now. They have one more week to go like you. And so I already shopped for them once, and now they're sending me their grocery list online, and I'm printing it off and going out shopping for them again today. So while I'm out, I'll be getting more flour if I can find it, stuff like that, things that I know I can make when I feel like cooking. So
and they last longer. We can have them in our pantries.
Exactly.
We don't know how long. I hope it's tomorrow that this thing will end, but it's not going.
Right.
Realistically speaking, it's not going to. But if we have stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
the beans, the lentils, the chickpeas, anything that we can have, and then of course our freezers. Thank God we have those too. Vegetables might be a little bit difficult to get in some areas more than others.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously the farming areas in BC, Sherry knows, and obviously Alberta as well, they might have a lot, but downtown here we are very limited what to find. Like I said, my son the other day came and he brought me a little bag with 3 little onions. I said,
Yeah.
what am I going to do with 3 little onions? That's all I'm going to use. He said, they didn't have any more, Mom. I said, okay, fine. We will do what we have.
So the fun part of that is he can shop for you and bring you some things that you're not expecting, which will be kind of fun, which I did with my friends. They gave me, they want to sow 5 apples, Macintosh. Well, they didn't have any Macintosh. So what am I doing? So I bought them 3 of this and 2 of that, and, you know, and then I did some other alternatives where I couldn't find things. So now it's up to you to get creative and enjoy them, these new things.
And taste something different, maybe. Find a taste spot. Like, I love the Envy ones because they're crispy and but I can't find them all the time. When I find them, I buy them. But when I told my daughter, I said, can you find us some Envy apples? She said, what are you talking about Mom, right now?
Yeah.
Apples? We're lucky to find apples. I can
find really? Anything. Where are you?
In Vancouver.
Well, me too. Tons of apples.
Yeah.
Save on foods. Have all kinds of apples.
Save on foods?
Save on foods. Lots of apples. All kinds. Yeah.
I would tell her that because probably they're looking down at the Urban Barn. Urban Fair, maybe. Yeah. That's where they were because it's the closest one to us.
Right.
And they were shopping. Most of the other products are coming from Costco, which obviously they're big bags and whatever it's in there, it's in there.
Yeah.
They're not Envy for sure.
Well, and I think it depends where you go to because, you know, Herc has been doing the grocery shopping. I'm too scared to go out. And he was saying Safeway, like, unless you get there early in the morning. Right. And then the other challenge is that lots of the stores you have to line up, and like in the city, things are so busy. The lineups are like blocks long.
Wow.
So it's
They told
become,
me too. Grandel Island has a lot of vegetables, and for us seniors, we have to go early in the morning.
right,
I can't get out. I can't get out of my
yes, for you.
anyway. It's so close to me, but I can't get out. So I'm depending on others, Samaritans like you, Erlene. Thank you so much for doing this
Yeah.
with others. That's wonderful. We are definitely so lucky to have our family to help us out. But it's good thing that you're doing. That's it. That's the spirit, you guys. That's the spirit, to help each other, and that is fantastic. If we can do that, but for other humans, that's great, especially the loved ones and the friends and that. Yeah.
Has anybody ordered online,
Great.
like done an online ordering?
Yeah, we did it. Well, we live in we farm. We live in an agricultural area, so we live near a small town. But our town, the one town near us, about 30 minutes away, has a Walmart. And so it's the first time I've ever done it, but amazingly slick in a rural area. I put my order in, and I had to wait a couple of days to get a pickup slot, but I put my order in. You can change your order up to midnight the day before. Then they send you an email, and they give you pick an hour's time slot. So I picked Sunday from 1 to 2. They send you an email at 1. They say your order's ready. Takes me a half hour to drive into town. I drive into town. They give you a phone number. I phone it. I say I'm in parking lot number 2. They come out. You push your hatch. They set it in the back of your vehicle, and you're done.
Wow.
Great. This is great. Sherry, is this how it's happening here? Because I have no idea.
Yeah, so it is. Like Save on Food and Walmart are the two that I know for sure. But I'm not sure the availability, because I was talking to a woman in Burnaby last week, and her neighbors were shut in, and they tried to book that, and they told them that they couldn't get her in the customer list until May. So then my friend started shopping for them because she already had the system in place. But I think if this continues on for, you know, a longer period of time, what we're going to find in the city anyway is that a lot of these services are overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Well, and though that's a good point, right? Because start to reach out and see if you can joint shop. So like my girls are in a city about 3 hours away. And so I'm like, you know, it's not like we're doing a lot. So I said, you know, send me your grocery orders, and every couple of weeks or every week I can go load it up. And basically what we do is we have a garage. So we just leave everything in the garage for a couple of days and don't use it, right? So that, like, we're buying so that we're not having to use it right away. And then I said, I'll make a run, and I can do a long distance visit with you and keep connected and give you your groceries, and you don't have to go out. And
That's good. Great.
There's a lot of ways that we can approach what we're what our realities are. So that it's wonderful and inspiring to hear all the solutions.
Very much so, because all these are wonderful ideas. Arlene's ideas with the books, with everything, with the photo albums. Beautiful, Arlene. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Because I have a big tupper sitting right here next to me, and I have them in Ziplocs and like different. Actually, for my children, for my five children, I separated from the time that they were younger, till the day they were married and they left the house, and then we started different situation with all the family. So I have them here, but I have to do something with them. I was thinking to take a photo of each one of them and just make an album with my computer here.
But you know, you can do it very easily on, I think it's Google. I did a book for someone, and you just Yeah, and you can actually take a photo of the photos, save them on there, and then you just send them in, and next thing you know, a couple of days later, you got a book.
Oh,
And
Arlene,
Yeah,
Arlene, I think we need to do a session on that.
Darling, let's, yeah, because
I think how many people do you think are going to get great Christmas presents this year? These kind of things.
yeah, those are the best. Those are the
There
best.
you go, Golfo. There's a challenge for you.
I love it. I love it. I love it, ladies. That is so good.
That would be Christmas gifts for your kids, one for each of them or something, you know?
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
got to do
well-
some for my son because I'm sure Shooty's going to throw all the photos out. So I've got to put them in a book so he can't throw it out.
yeah, Arlene, that's inspired me to, I did do my like loose photos, but my digital photos. So
Oh.
I'm thinking maybe I should like go and do a photo album a year, right? Through
Yes.
the digital photos and start to something like that. So thanks for the idea.
No problem. The other thing is I have
Just in time.
slides,
Yes.
slide trays. I had bought this machine that you're supposed to be able to digitize from there.
Mhm.
It didn't work, so I'm going to see if there's a new one on the market because what to do with all those slides. I'm sure I don't want to keep them all.
Oh no.
But-
Of course.
And I've had
Well-
I had to keep the projector and everything just so I can see them.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can play through them, because that's one of the things I did in the first thing, trying to do some things, because I lost my job too. So I was looking at trying to use time.
Yeah.
But I went through I don't have slides, but I had a lot of DVDs and the 8mm tracks.
Yeah, I got those too.
And so I did have some old equipment that played them. And so I played through them and figured out the ones I wanted. And then Costco and Walmart, you can take them in and they digitize them on a CD for you. And it's it's $20, I think, for 2 hours or something. So.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good because I went to a place in Richmond where the guy wanted like $3 per slide. I went, you gotta be kidding.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it was insane. I said, forget it. That's really ridiculous.
Well,
And,
Yeah,
Costco's
but I was going to
always-
tell you, I had some, from an old movie camera, I had some, the smaller, the little reels. Right, so it was 10 of them from a trip from 1969. It's a trip from Montreal down to Arizona, up the West Coast and across Canada with my husband way back when we were very young. And, I think I'll get those put on one, CD. So I took it to, I think it was Black's Photography. And this is about 2 years ago. And I had numbered them 1 to 10. So they were in the order of the trip. Well, I told the guy, they're in order of the trip. Because once they put them on the CD, they're shot. They can't be saved again. Well, guess what? They mixed them all up. So the first one was, oh, we're at Disneyland. Oh, no, now we're at the Grand Canyon. Oh, we're in Vancouver. And they were all mixed up. But the best part of all of that was, while they were all mixed up, it didn't make any sense. The very last end of the reel, the CD, was my son feeding some animals at the zoo when he was about 4 years old.
Oh.
Never knew I had anything with him live at 4 years old. I went, oh, this is great. Anyway, so I made a
Amazing.
gift of it and sent it down to his father, whom I divorced from. Sent it down to him, and he's kept it. So that's great. Yeah, so that was quite fun. Anyway,
Well, we're gonna,
challenges.
Fantastic.
Yes.
It's the past time. That's wonderful. So good. Wonderful meeting you.
Okay.
and we're going to have to wrap up, but in the Zoom chat, I put the link to Golfo's recipe, which has a shot of her grandparents' or grandmother's recipe book, which I thought was quite amazing. So
How do you find
grab the link. Do you see in the chat there?
I've seen it come up.
Yeah, so you just grab it before we close.
I don't know where that is.
If you go to the bottom of your screen, Arlene, you'll see chat. So just move your cursor to the bottom of your screen.
Because
Oh, yeah. Where's his one?
Yeah, and hit chat,
Yeah.
and then just copy that, and then
Oh.
paste it into a Word document or into the internet browser.
Okay.
It's just a link. and it'll take you directly there.
Okay, good, thanks.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. It's
Hey.
been amazing to connect. There's many other conversations just like this happening this week and next. I think Wednesday is our next one. In the morning, we're talking with Coach, who's chatting about how to keep going when you don't know where you're going, basically, which is very appropriate. But Wednesday afternoon is fascinating. It is a woman in Australia who weaves junk into purses and bags and items of clothing. It's quite fascinating. And then Friday or Thursday it is, we're doing a painting show with Golfo again, who is an accomplished artist, recognized, and she has art hanging around the world. So that will be fun too. So go to our Facebook page at 45 and you can find them all under the events tab. And please share them out. As well, this will be, this and all the other sessions we do will be posted on our YouTube channel at 45.